Hi, I'm Maddie from Quiltsmart, and in the video today we're going to show you how to make the Drunkard's Path block, which is 16 of these small squares, and it's a great block. It's really easy to make. It looks, of course, like it would be really difficult, and it's really easy. You're going to love it. Here is a very fun variation of the Drunkard's Path. You just make your Drunkard's Path squares, make a quarter of the big Drunkard's Path block, and then we put circles around it and made it into an applique. And this is really super easy. You could imagine this as a queen size quilt. You're just sewing big borders to the side. It's a great quilt and a fun way to get to know the Drunkard's Path. So this is a really popular pattern and it goes crazy. It's called Drunkard's Path. Some people have an issue with that name, but that is what it's called from a long time ago. And it is not a hard quilt to make. So this is what the back looks like, and I'm going to open it and show you what you get inside. You get 3 different layouts and little quick instructions on the back, and inside you get the interfacing, and you get these great instructions and a little bit of variation over here. And I'm just going to set that aside while we finish here. Also, the Drunkard's Path, there's a lot of different variations you can do. These are just 5 of them. But just to show you that it doesn't have to be just Drunkard's Path. It could be Solomon's Puzzle, Rocky Road to Dublin, different names, Cleopatra's Puzzle, and these are all traditional names, Lone Ring and Houndstooth, all traditional names, and they all look much different, but it's all the same block. So that is one of the things that's really fun about the Drunkard's Path. So this is what the panel looks like, and you can see that there's 8 blocks here and another 8, and there's also another 8, and it takes 8 blocks to make one big Drunkard's Path blocks, and I will show you how to do that now. So we're going to take one of these little squares, and we've cut these apart, and I'm going to put this on this square, on the orange square. Let me show you first the block that we're making. Making a block like this. Now I call this the bird. It looks like a bird to me, but we are taking 4 of those will make a large 16-inch Drunkard's Path. And the thing that is so cool about this, like I just love Drunkard's Path because you can move it. You can just do all kinds of different things with the squares. But see, that's just rows like that. But the simple block is the same. So every pattern that you use has this 4 patch that's the same, and you can flip them. All right, and the way that you make that 4 patch is you're going to have, for every single applique block, you're going to have 2 background blocks. So this will make both of these. So we're going to show you how to do that right now. And I'm going to put the rough side against the right side of the fabric. And see those 2 solid lines? I'm going to stitch with just a regular, I think I have a 2.0, yep, on this. And I'm stitching right on the solid line. Now when you do a curve, you get a smoother curve with the shorter stitch. So if you want to do a 1.5 on that, you could too. I have a nice curved line there, so I'm not too worried about that. But I wouldn't go bigger. So I'd go a 2.0 or smaller. You can see that you're going to have a pretty narrow spot between to cut. And that's so that we have a small seam allowance, because that way we don't have to clip this curve when we turn it, and you're gonna get a really beautiful curve. So now I'm gonna cut right between. Take your time, watch a movie. Well, watch your cutting, I guess. Okay, and now I've got 2 pieces, 1 for each background block. And so now I'm gonna turn those, and I'm gonna use a little tool to help out with. Now one thing that you want to, and this is true with all Quiltsmart curved piecing, or rather no curved piecing projects is you turn it, and when you turn this, you can sharpen that curve a little bit this way, but you do not want to go in where the interfacing is. You want to stay where the seam is of the fabric. So, and you can just put that on a hard surface and rub that there, and you'll get a nice curve. The other thing that I like to do for the curve is I typically finger press it also after I do that, but I like to get just a little tiny bit of the front showing. That way you are assured that the interfacing is not going to show. So I'm going to put this one on this square, and I'm just going to put that right in the corner of that background square. Then I'm going to take the other one, I call this the L shape, and I'm just going to turn it like this and finger press a little bit on both sides, and then I will take my turner just to sharpen that curve a little bit, my pointer turner. And again, I'm only pressing along the fabric, not the interfacing. And this one too, I like to have this. Sometimes you have a little trouble at the corners there, but give it a finger press if you do. And I like to have this one showing too, just like the other one. Now we're going to take these, and this goes right in the corner like that. So you've got two blocks like this. Now we're going to take these and fuse them. And that is a fusible under there. And if you've done a nice job with the finger pressing, you're going to really be impressed with your curve. And you just fuse that down a couple seconds, and that'll stay on there. And all you really need is enough for it to stick to do the applique part. And then we're going to put this, and look at that, look at those beautiful curves. This is such a cool quilt. I love it. Oh, and the fabric, a lot of people ask us what fabric we use. This one is the Moda Grunge on this. I just love this color. Okay, so now we're going to applique, but you can see that this would become that. And also, this could be like that. So you can see how you can make the single blocks turn into this, or a different design than that. And now we're just going to applique. Now that's a zigzag stitch, and I like, if you're a beginner, you can try using a 2.0, so 2.0 on the length and the width. And I like, get used to it. You know, you'll get used to if you want it smaller or not. So what I have my machine set at is a 1.5 width. And I'll show you what that looks, and a 2.5 length. So it's a little longer. Now what this stitch is going to do is hold it down. So that seam allowance, that's why the seam allowance can be so small, because you're also going over it with a zigzag. Now the way I'm doing this is I'm putting the zig here and the zag here. So zag, zig, zag. So I'm going just off the curve, and this is important for any of our products that are like this. It's a really nice stitch to get used to for appliquing. And then I would just butt this up, and you can, if you sew it like this with the applique on this side, it sort of feels backwards to me. Sometimes I do it, but your choice how you do that. And I just go like this, and you will find that you'll be buzzing along pretty quickly once you get this down. It doesn't take long at all. And there we go. And now you have your two squares. Now, let's see if we can get close enough here to see that stitch really well. And again, you might use, I would normally use like the pink color. A silk thread is great. It's nice and thin but strong. And an invisible thread is great too. I've used the white so that you can see it. And this is what the back looks like then. So then you would want to just trim out the back a little bit. Now this might depend on what your colors are like. Like this quilt, I wouldn't really need to trim out the back, but you can see that I did on this one. So it gets rid of a little bit of weight if you're going to hand quilt. And to trim it out, I just leave about maybe a 3/8 inch seam. You can see I don't measure it. So there's one there. There, looks curved pieced, but it wasn't, which is nice. And I would do the same thing for, it peels off really quickly. There we go. And just cut that. Now you do want to take a little care not to cut through your top piece. Okay, and there your pieces are appliqued, and you can see how they fit into the block. And then you can see how the blocks go together. So the quilt that I'm making out of this one, I sort of thought maybe I would make all of the birds flying outwards. And there you go. And you can do whatever design you want. You can also see that I've mixed fabrics for the background. I would, I didn't do it because I was short on fabrics. I did it because I thought it would add interest to the quilt. So feel free to mix it up a bit. And I hope you enjoy it very much.